He's stuck! He can't get to the point, it's gonna be lit! Oh, it's not enough! They came from Ash, and to Ash they return! The Atlanta Reign have been slain! The echoes of glory, no longer just a whisper for the Spitfire! They will advance!
Welcome to today's video about how we beat the Atlanta Reign in that elimination game of the group stage of playoffs just 2 weeks ago. Now, we had played Atlanta about a week before, twice in scrims. We lost both of them. We only won 3 out of 10 maps, and then when you look at the comp breakdown, we tried a few different things, and none of them were feeling that great for us. So it's fair to say we learned a lot from these 2 scrims in particular. Even if you look at this Suravasa, where we won 50%, the one we lost for first day, we had about 21% fight win. The one the second day, we won 67.5% fight win, so we managed to fix a lot of our problems. Even with all that in mind, we still thought this game would be close. All the improvements we made over the week, we thought we could give Atlanta a really good game. And, as it turns out, we could give them a hell of a game, and we'd actually go on to beat them 3-0. So I want to take a closer look at this, and I don't want to just look at some of the clutch plays we made or some of the mistakes Atlanta made. I want to look at some of the theory and some of the improvements we made that helped us turn these scrim results where we weren't that close to a situation where we were actually able to go quite far ahead of them. I think some of it was Atlanta underperforming, but I'd like to think a lot of it is what we did well as well. So let's start on Ilios Well. We can look at all the fights from this round as it gives a pretty good demonstration of a lot of the ideas and principles we try and apply when playing Rush against Dive. But first I want to talk about the Atlanta Reign and what they're trying to do with their composition. So they want their Dive squad, whether they're playing Winston, Tracer, Echo, or Genji, or Sojourn. They want everyone to come from slightly different angles if they can, and all converge on the same point at the exact same time, ideally behind a nade from their Ana, onto someone like our Baptiste, and if they arrive on similar timing and they hit the nade, it's so hard for us to survive, especially when you get to teams the quality of the Atlanta Reign. If they're able to get this setup and get this execution for free, you will die every time, quite literally. So it's really important for us as the Rush team to not allow this to happen. What can we do to play in areas where it's hard to do something like this? Or can we disrupt any of this? So if we look at how we choose to set up for our first fight, you can see some of that already. If we take a look at where we're positioned, we're in a position where we can get a lot of sim turrets. We've got some nice rooms to disengage into, but also what we're doing is we're having Backbone play over here. We're playing Haddy play quite aggressively here. And what we're trying to do with these positions from Backbone and Haddy is occupy more space. Not because we get loads of value out of holding this space, but we do get loads of value if we can deny them taking this space. So it's really important for us to be proactive around these areas. And that's a really key word we always use in London, proactive. So let's take a look at this first fight. What is going to happen? Backbone's initially getting a bit of an angle. He's going to fight the Brig. He's going to fight the Echo. He realizes 2 people are going to come on him. So Admiral goes over to help him. In the meantime, Haddy is just trying to annoy Donghak, not let him get above us for free, make him use his cooldowns reactively. We're going to go on a bit. Again, Haddy threatens the pin, forces Donghak to jump back. We're all pretty happy with this. And now the point's going to unlock so we can start forcing that. We're going to try and get a nice wall here on Donghak to make his jump out difficult. But again, you see Donghak's going to jump in, but it's a difficult spot for Fielder to nade because he can't drop. And also, Stalker is busy fighting Backbone. So again, this just makes Landon's life a little bit easier here. You can even see if Landon gets in trouble, we've actually got a defensive TP for him just to juke around with as well. So we've got the TP, we've got the turrets, we've made this a pretty safe bunker, and we're also doing a pretty good job of keeping everyone else occupied. Backbone's going to have his shift forced, so we have to care him a little bit now. So this time, as he comes in, we're actually going to react. We know Stalker's looking for the kill. Chio's even trying to walk up into him. Haddy's going to pin to take some pressure off. Admiral gets a really nice boop to mess up Stalker's stickies. And then we're actually able to turn this kill off the back of that. And now once we have this, you see they go for a dive, but because we put so much pressure, even killed Stalker, it's a 2-man dive. And the difference between dealing with a 2-man dive and dealing with a 3-man dive against these type of compositions is huge. And Even again, dealing with a 3-man dive with a nade, so much harder. But if we can limit some of these, it really gives us a great chance to win the fight. So we catch Stalker, we managed to clear Donghack and Lips dive off of us. Now we can continue to clear, and now we see this moment in the middle of a fight where Hadi realises he's heard Fielder use his sleep. There's a chance for him just to pin on and get one of these vintage Hadi killing an Ana clips. Likewise, Backbone's going to see an opportunity to push on to Chio as well, and now we're just, again, not letting the Atlanta Rain reset, not let them get ready for another perfect dive onto Landon. We forced them back and we forced their cooldowns, and now we want to keep them on the back foot. As we move on to the second fight, we can see we've not really been able to hold the same type of space this time. We've all ended up in the bunker position. The Genji's above us, Donghack's found a nice drop timing, and Lips got the angle to come in this way, and they're going to have an Ananade coming in from this angle in a second. So they've managed to get their setup, and this is where the sim becomes so integral to a lot of our strategy. What we're going to do is we're going to realise this is the situation, realise we're in a bad situation, and we're just going to TP to the other side of the map. We're not looking to TP aggressively onto anything, we just want to flip the map. And now if I pause it now, their setup doesn't look that great all of a sudden. Donghack probably isn't so unhappy with this. He's still probably about one shift away from getting on top of us. But suddenly, Stalker's not in a position. This distance for a Genji to cross to engage is so hard because we can shoot him a lot of the way. Similarly, Lip has to cross, but he has to use a lot of his cooldowns to do it. So now all of a sudden, they are not ready to fight in this area anymore. In an ideal world, Atlanta should wait and get their Genji maybe to come in this way, maybe get Lip to come in this way and then go. But they pull the trigger too early. Donghack's going to go now with the nano, and he gets the nano and he gets on top of us. Fair play. But look, where is Stalker? Where is Lip? And these guys are not involved, and a one-man nano dive, really not a problem. What we're going to even do on top of that, we're going to get a nice pin, and we're going to TP back. Unfortunately, we do just lose Backbone. He's a little bit slow, and that part of it doesn't work out. But we are back to our safe bunker spot. We are back in here and we can look to deal with the ults. So realistically, we're probably just looking to try and slow down this fight, give a chance for Backbone to respawn and rejoin us, get more capture progress while we can do that. We're going to do that by starting with Window. Suddenly we can relieve a lot of pressure. We're able to clear Lip and force his recall. We make Stalker de-peek a little bit. We buy ourselves a little bit of time and space. Again, you can see Hadi trying to use the proactive principles to keep these guys occupied. Again, it just makes dealing with this a little bit easier. And he's going to back up to the team now as he gets naded and takes some pressure. We beat to make sure everyone stays alive. Hadi tanks the pulse bomb. Now they're going to primal. Again, you can see a lot of good work being done by our turrets, and Landon and Admiral, again, so good in these situations, these guys. We're able to stabilize a little bit. And here we see a really important part of a lot of our peeling philosophy. When a lot of people think about peeling, they think about, is my Lucio looking after my BAP? Is my Brig using his packs and his whip to keep my Ana safe? But an important part of peeling as well is taking pressure away from these guys. And a good way to take pressure away from these guys is to put out pressure of your own. So Spark dropping this TP, even though it's maybe unlikely we kill Fielder, it just pulls everyone back. It pulls Chio back. It stops there being healing onto these three guys. It slows them down, and it just gives your backline that extra bit of breathing room when they need it the most. And that's exactly what we see here. Even though Hadi's going to get stranded and find himself in a pretty rough situation, he's done just enough to take the pressure off our backline, so we're able to deal with Donghack. We even get the kill. You can see Donghack's probably expecting a little bit more pocket, but because they've had to turn and deal with Hadi, it buys us this space. Now Backbone's back. No tanks on the field. It's 4v4. Rally's going to be dropped. We're going to manage to kite that. Another good disengaged TP from us to get away from this rally. All of a sudden, Backbone finds a headshot. We're able to use this May ult to keep the rally off us. And now, all of a sudden, this big ult fight where we've had to use a lot, of course, but they don't have their primal, their nano, their rally, their pulse. It's all gone. We now find ourselves in a prime position to finish off this map. Here we go then, final fight. It's a very similar setup. We're in our safe bunker position. Genji's coming over the top. Tracer's coming through here. Donghack's probably going to try and find an engage like here. Again, Vinay's going to be coming from here. So what are we doing this time? Quite similar to the previous fight. We're going to start with an aggressive TP. So you've seen us use TP sometimes just to disengage or manipulate the map. This time we're doing a similar one to last time, where we TP Hadi in aggressively just to be annoying and threaten him with Shatter. And again, if we watch how much attention Hadi is able to take here from the backline, we're going to wall him off. Then Hattie's going to keep going. Spark comes to help for a little bit. We're going to miss for Shatter. We're going to then go for the pin. We miss for pin. So at the moment, maybe you could say this hasn't gone Hattie's way. But actually, if we look at the map and where everyone is right now, he's zoned them so hard. They're all the way over here. The fight is here on point. All of a sudden, we're able to kill Donghack. We're able to deal with this Blade. I know we have beat to deal with the Blade anyway, but we actually didn't even need to beat. Admiral only beats because it's last fight to make sure it's 100%. We would have had enough peel anyway because Hattie has done such a good job of taking these guys out of a fight, relieving pressure off our backline. Let's move on to our Blizz World attack where we can start thinking about topography and map manipulation a little bit more. And to do that, we have to think about cum zones. If you don't know what cum zones are, I go into more detail in a previous video here. But for those of you who are cum zone connoisseurs, you'll know that this area, maybe even this area, and especially this area, oh, these are the cum zones. These are just horrible areas for us to play versus dive. They can have people on high grounds or in hiding spots all behind us. Really hard to deal with. So what we want to do is we want to try and manipulate the map so we avoid these areas. So we're going to do a nice inside rotation, TP across this gap, then do another nice inside rotation. And what's so nice about this is it really limits how many ults they can farm. And we're going to end up in our final spot here, where we're in a nice bunker situation. And what's nice about this as a bunker spot is, one, there's lots of nice natural cover and there's good spots for us to put our sim turrets. But also, and this is something we try to do quite a lot, we have the back of the map or what's behind us be a dead zone. So here, because behind us is second point, none of them are going to be set up on second point because they're all set up on first for a fight there. The time to get back into this flank position for them is really long, especially if we start touching objective. So we make this entire area just a safe zone that we don't have to worry about. Sometimes we're doing this on other maps where we just use the actual boundaries of the maps. We'll see a bit more of that on second. But in general, if we can make just a couple of the sides dead zones for us, it gets so much easier for us just to deal with everything in front of us. And that's what we're going to start to do here. So we're going to move up. We're going to start to clear the next danger zone, which is this area on top. We're going to bait out the whip, nicely done by Hattie, able to clear this top area. And now we're going to slowly take space and just start forcing point, forcing the objective. So it's a little bit hard on this Blizz World first point because they're able to tip and tap so much from these corners. But you can very much see our idea just to get them off point, slowly get the objective. Eventually we'll go with window as well. I think our window probably could be more aggressive with the power of hindsight because we get them off point. But again, they can touch quite quickly again afterwards. If we'd maybe done a more aggressive window like this or something, we could maybe clear this in a more significant, more permanent way. And maybe that would have gone better for us. The rest of first turns into a pretty big dogfight, and we managed to clutch it out in the end. But hopefully you can see the start of the fight was a lot of our principles in action. As we move on to second, we encounter another problem, an even bigger cum zone. So it's really difficult to move the cart through this area. So what we're going to do is we're going to start the fight with Symbol. Fake TP first, bait out the Doom's cooldowns, then Symbol. And you'll notice we're not very aggressive with this. We're not doing anything crazy. All we want is to move the cart through this area and then move our backline into their new bunker position. So that's exactly what we do here. They're going to nano doom in. But if we look at our setup here, we're going to start to see now all of a sudden we've got the sim turrets, we've got everyone inside. Their timing isn't great. I think Stalker's out here somewhere. Lip is not ready to peek yet. Well, Stalker's here actually, but again, still not ready to peek. And we have all these tight chokes. So if we ever come through in these chokes, we can get a really nice wall and a chance to punish them. And that's exactly what happens here. We're going to see Stalker try to come in top. At a certain point, Backbone's going to realise this. He's going to get the wall now. Catches Stalker, the boop's there, the turrets are helping. We're able to take care of him. Again, all the turrets zapping Hawk. Hawk makes a really nice play, able to trade too. It can always happen where if you play against the Atlanta Reign, sometimes their players are going to make plays. But despite this fight going poorly for us, you can see now actually we've moved the cart from here to here and we're now in one fight territory for the next fight coming up. This is our very next retake, and you'll see we're going to apply a lot of the principles again. We're going to TP to cross in this difficult area, and we're going to start to get ourselves onto cart. We go underneath, we can now go through. We're going to take a little peek out top, but our primary focus is just to get everyone to the next bunker position, which is here a little bit close to cap, and then Hattie's going to pick up cart. And now we're going to keep moving the car as long as we can. And then at a certain point, what we realise is they're really set up to dive us in this area. So we're going to TP up here, come out top, clear these guys off. And it works perfectly for us. We catch them, not ready. We're going to window out here. Hattie's going to hit the big fire strike onto Chio. Now we've got complete map control. Again, you can see once we've cleared them off of their area, we move back to our bunker position. Then we're going to drop our Mei ult. We're going to beat immediately, throw away all of our ults, and somehow lose this fight. It looks so unlosable, but because we blew our load a little bit too soon, they're actually able to clutch this one out, block the shatter, and it becomes a nice clutch. But the setup and how that fight started really seemed like we should have been in a pretty good position. This time, 15 seconds left on the clock. Can we apply our principles again, maybe in a slightly different way, and not mess it up at the end this time? And the answer is yes. Yes, we can. This time, we're going to come through the other side of the map. We're going to TP from here to here. And the reason this is nice is because, again, we create a dead zone. Because when we play from here, they can't stand here. Nothing can really set up here. Even here is a pretty difficult area for them to set up, or at least a very easy area for us to control. Most of them will probably be in this area, so we really ruin their staging, ruin their setup, ruin what they're looking for with this. And we go through. We're going to be able to kill, I think, the Doom almost straight away, which always helps. But we're also able to clear the Ana. Now, if you've seen this situation, Backbone's able to take the Ana out of the game, so we don't have to worry about nades. We're able to kill this Doom. Hattie's gone immediately to point, and we see this in a lot of our pushes and the way we play payload maps where we focus the objective quite a lot. And the reason we focus the objective is because it's another great way to occupy their DPS. As soon as we start putting objective pressure out, especially when it's near cap like this, one of their players has to respond. Probably Stalker, probably Hawk. And because they do that, all of a sudden it means instead of getting that 3-man perfect dive they would like we talked about on Ilios, well, one of them has to touch cart. So if one of them has to touch cart, it's a 2-man dive. It makes our life so much easier. And this time, we get the 2 insta-kills. We wall just to be sure, because they are going to nano, they are going to make it messy, but Spark's able to clean this one up. We keep the objective pressure, we finish it off, and we're going to go on to end up capping this one. Let's finish with some of the Suravasa clips where you can see us putting a lot of the ideas together. We're going to start in a good bunker position. Nice sim turrets for us. Back of the map behind us. Difficult for him to use this area. Quite difficult for him to use this area as well because that's from our spawn too. So we can really minimize the number of ways they come from. We're going to see Atlanta start to take space on point. Then immediately our response is Hattie's going to pin. Backbone's going to start playing aggressively. We're going to drop the wall. So all of a sudden, even though their Doom's in and using ult, this wall's blocking these guys off. Their Sojourn and Ana don't have an angle to impact the fight. We've managed to put a bit of pressure on their Echo as well. So Doom Hawk here is really in by himself. So we're able to deal with that. He's going to come down again. Backbone's done a good job putting pressure here. You see Hattie start to put pressure in this area here. And look how far back their Ana is. Field is in a position to live, and he can pocket Hawk a little bit here. But he's not in a position to carry the fight with big nades, and that's really important for us. So then we're going to keep pressure in Hawk, more pressure on him. We force him out. We window to again keep the pressure up. We catch Hawk short on cooldowns, and now it becomes a very easy fight for us to deal with. And this window is really nice timing from Landon. One thing Chris always talks about with a comp, especially dive comps, is it's quite cycle based. So there's a bit where they're all setting up, and then there's this big spike in damage where they use for cooldowns. Then they need a bit of time to set up again, then a big spike again. And what we want to do is in these areas, this is where we get our work done. We need to do something in this area to stop them getting this spike. And this is exactly what this window does in this situation. It keeps them on the back foot, keeps us in control of the situation. It's always good to have good theory, but sometimes when you're playing against a team the caliber of the Atlanta Reign, you just have to play well. And I think there were multiple moments in this series where we just put really classy performances out. If we highlight Landon here, because I think Hattie always gets a lot of attention, Backbone always gets a lot of attention for his things, but I think Landon really is the best BAP in the world. We're going to see him come in here. You see we've TP'd through the dangerous area. We've got our bunker set up. We window in response to their Sojourn ult. We get a shift on to keep everyone alive. We dink for Sojourn. We're able to start taking a little bit more map space, put some pressure out. Hawk's going to come in. Perfect jump over the punch. We clear him out a little bit more. We keep everyone topped up. We're able to finish off a weak Echo. We dodge the nade just about. We get damage onto Fielder. Unfortunately, we can't save Backbone in time. But here, we've just taken care of everything. Hawk's going to make a last desperation play with his ult. Landon keeps everyone alive, keeps himself alive, and cleans it up. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how we played in this series. Even though, if you were to ask me, did Atlanta underperform, I would have to say yes. It was a lot easier than we probably expected and a lot more straightforward, especially compared to the scrims we had against them just a week before. So while we made a lot of improvements and we're happy with how the theory came off, I think it would be really fair to say Atlanta underperformed. But saying that, I think the most you can really do as a coach or as a team is try and put yourself and your players in the best position to consistently win fights. And I think even though some things went wrong for us in this series, like the end of that Blizzard World attack, the first point on Blizzard World, some points on Suravasa, we consistently put ourselves in good positions to win fights. So I'm pretty happy with how our theory turned out on how to play Rein versus Dive. And if you want to do some of these things yourself, the key things are find a good bunker spot where everyone wants to play. Use the borders of the map and the topography to make your choice on where the best bunker is. You want it to be near the payload as well. Always, always, always be proactive and use the objective pressure to pin their DPS or just force them to rush their plays and make mistakes. And then maybe you two can beat the Atlanta Reign.